everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today I have with us a indie director as well. He's a writer, and he has a new movie that's upcoming, and there's an Indiegogo out right now for it. I have Tony Dionisio. Did I pronounce that right?
It's pretty close. Yeah,
Okay.
Dionisio.
Dionisio. And he has a new movie come out called I Ninja. Tony, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Pleasure, my man. Thank you for coming on. So tell us a little bit about I Ninja.
I Ninja is a story about basically untouchable criminals where the law can't reach them. So I've always been fascinated by that. So in this case, it's human traffickers, and I just decided to have a kind of like a revenge, and I like ninja movies, so I'm gonna have a ninja slice up all the bad people.
Nice.
It's really that simple.
Nice. So it kind of has a little bit of a horror aspect to it, but it's also a little bit of an action.
Well, the horror part of it, believe it or not, is it's not just it is character driven. It has to be character driven for budget concerns. There's no explosions or nothing written into this. I knew a long time ago, once I started making films, transitioning from screenplay writing, that what I really wanted to write, there was no way I could possibly make it myself. So what I did was I decided that I kind of had this story where I wanted to explore what a young woman would go through as she's being abducted and taken into this trafficking ring, and kind of how she kind of the horror that she's going through with this stuff, with these wacky individuals. So all the horror movies that I grew up watching as a kid, I wanted to kind of incorporate some horror aspects into this, and that's definitely where I envisioned the horror coming from. It's not a regular Jason or Freddy type of horror.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of slasher, because this ninja is just gonna go off on people. So I'm putting in the budget for decapitations and cuts and blood and all kinds of stuff, but just not a tremendous amount of it. You know what I mean?
And I love a good revenge story, especially when you have some awful villains. Now, and this is real life horror, because sex trafficking is something that it's a horror that actually happens in this world.
Yep.
The whole entire world daily. Now, what gave you your inspiration to come up with this story?
Well, actually, I was just looking for a vehicle to do some sort of a kind of like a revenge horror movie, or a revenge ninja movie. Let's put it that way. So I thought that an assassin, ninjas are basically assassins. They just, from what we see in the movies, they run around in their cloth outfits and stuff.
Yes.
But I just wanted to kind of take it a little further and make this person like almost like a Terminator assassin. So the titular character, right? I'm saying that right?
Yes.
The titular ninja. She's actually nonverbal. So she doesn't have one line through the whole movie. What she is more like an assassin, a Terminator assassin. Let's make her like a Terminator, that type of a character. And she basically kills for profit, right? That's what an assassin really does. So she kills for profit, just to do some weird, quirky stuff. She's into high fashion and stuff like that. So she's totally into that, and she basically finds out that her sister is caught up in one of these rings and is near death after she kind of got away from one. So she decides that she drops everything and she decides to head over from overseas back to Tennessee. That's where you don't know much about her backstory, but that's where her sister is now in the hospital. So she basically risks being captured. right off the bat. So now I got the couple of cops, the seasoned cop and the veteran cop, and they're both trying to go after her. I have her trying to figure out how to get the revenge that she needs on these traffickers. And then I have the young girl that's going to be witness to horror firsthand, and we're going to follow her through the steps. And then we're going to have everybody come together at the end. The cops will be, good cop, bad cop. No, don't know who this cop is in line with, or this cop's working for. And then we're just gonna do some martial arts, have some cool interrogation scenes, and just have fun with it.
Have fun. Now, I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s, and there were some excellent ninja movies out in the 80s. And it seems like within the last, I would say about 10 to 20 years, there hasn't been a good ninja movie out.
Yeah.
And ninjas are, I mean, they're a mystique character. They're badass. Are you a little bit glad to, like, wow, I'm actually going to go out here and put up a good ninja movie?
Yeah. It depends on what you think a good ninja movie is. I mean, because I am one decade behind you, so I started watching with my father back in the late 70s to the 80s. I think probably 80 to 84 is when some of these just ridiculous ninjas movies just started coming out, and one trying to trump the next and go up and up. Now you have, I mean, you're coming from Bruce Lee movies, which was a whole different type of intensity, so to speak. I mean, that guy was just off the charts. So now you got some ninja movies where they're trying to kind of, I guess, expand on it, and now you have the supernatural involved as well a little bit. So that's definitely what I kind of put into this character. But it's basically somebody who only cares about herself, her profit, and then kind of gets thrown into this, to get her revenge. She kind of has to kind of care about the other people involved, and there's no money being made at this stage. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to drive this character and get even more how should I say even more emotion or arc. We'll use that typical whatever screenwriting terminology. Arc. I mean, I've studied a lot of screenwriting, self-taught. I didn't go to film school. I have a totally different background. I was a businessman first, and then law enforcement. So I've kind of done all that. So I'm not looking at this as a project to get rich or anything like that. I'm looking at this to kind of be successful enough so that I can keep making more movies.
It's amazing. Now, how long did it take you to get this, get the script and the screenplay together?
Script, I would say almost 2 years. Since I came down to Tennessee, I kind of, coming from New York, I figured that coming down here, if I was going to continue to make any kind of movies, I would have to go to Atlanta. Since I moved away from New York and retired from there, but going to Atlanta would be where I'd have to go. And it turned out that I'm about an hour and a half away from Knoxville, so it's all eastern Tennessee. There is Nashville that does have a base for movie making. Excuse me, but they are all coming to Knoxville at the moment. So I was kind of surprised that there was so much of a movie making base already within my reach here. So that's when I started the script. I said, okay, we can start in Atlanta. So I started writing the locations in Atlanta, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I live in Tennessee, so let me do Nashville. So then I started writing Nashville airport, and stuff like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got Knoxville. I'm starting to have a following here and a community. So I started meeting people, and I'm like, wait a minute, let's just make it in Knoxville. So it's closer to me. I can use locals. I don't, I'm not budgeting to bring people in from, from New York or California or anything. That's just beyond what I can do.
Now, are there a lot of martial artists in the Knoxville area?
I've already met a couple. And I also had the benefit to meet, I haven't physically met him yet, but he is kind of, I would say, between where I live and Nashville. He does coordination for movie actors in martial arts. That's his thing. And he also does self-defense and stuff. So I had a Skype conversation with him a couple of months ago leading up to this. And I told him, look, I don't know where I am. I don't know what the budget's going to be or anything. I said, do you want to come on board and we had the same conversation we already had, me and you, with because he's the same deal. He was watching those movies, those ninja movies.
Yeah.
And he's like, he felt the same way. I'm like, today's movies are all cut and jumboed and sped up and slowed down. I said, when I watch, a good like martial arts movie, I want to see the real. I don't want to see it, medium close. I don't want to, and some wide stuff. And he totally agreed with just about everything we talked about. And I said, I don't know what, I said, I'm going to find a way to pay people because even if I want people to show up. If I'm going to go to the distance and set all this stuff up, I said, I don't know how much I could pay you or nothing, I said, but, there could be something on the back end. I said, the back end most likely isn't going to, you know what I mean? There's no guarantee, of course, on the back end. And plus, it's not something that I really want to, kind of give away at this stage. So he basically decided to come on board. And then there's another guy that I met here that I basically, since I met him, he just has the look of like a Viking. So I wrote the bad guy for him, like the real vicious bad guy. And,
nice.
So I got that in line down here. Then, like I said, I switched to different locations to kind of incorporate this, and hopefully we can get this done safely and quickly. And I just, the logistics of it. I mean, because I've done 2-day shorts. I did a sci-fi short concept movie for that. I did that all on my own, basically. It's all green screen. I did that back in New York. So that was 2 days, with X amount of budget and the work that went into that, and you're exhausted, for a few days after that. So I got to figure out how I'm going to space this out to accommodate the people that I want to try to bring on board, and potentially even more people than that. But I kept all the list of characters low so that I don't have to bring in a lot. I mean, a lot of people don't even have dialogue. They just, going to be killed, that kind of stuff. If I gotta bring in some dialogue, to get them to want to be in it, then I can adjust it on the, on the fly. But like I said earlier, it's all designed to be done economically and set-wise. There's no big sets or anything like that. Back to like the Bruce Lee, I was always fascinated by I forgot the title, when he walks into the dojo and he just kicks everybody's ass.
Oh, that's the
Fury, Fist of Fury.
Fist of Fury. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had to put a scene like that in here where the ninja walks in and just kicks everybody's ass. Then walks out.
I love like the 80s action martial arts movie. Huge fan. Yeah. Now when it comes to filming locations and finding the best one, is that a struggle as an indie filmmaker?
Yeah, for me, definitely. First of all, I don't know my way around here. I still depend on the GPS, and in the roads here, everything is like this, going up mountains, and I got to concentrate just not wind up down in the hole somewhere,
Yeah.
or the holler as they call it
Uh,
here, down in the holler. So you're north, you're Philly, right?
in Baltimore.
That's
I'm an Eagles fan. Yeah.
you're Baltimore.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wait, you're Baltimore and you're an Eagles fan?
Eagles fan. Yes. My dad
Oh
was an
boy.
Eagles fan, so I
I think you're
very much
missing
Eagles
I
fan.
think you're missing the game right now, right?
No, the game's over. We actually won in
Oh, you
overtime.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I caught the end of the Eagles game with Buffalo, and that was pretty bad for
Yeah.
Buffalo. But
Hmm.
I'm a miserable Jeff fan, so you must
Oh.
understand. I hate Jeff fans.
I know you guys, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I was like, wow, everybody, even myself, I was like, the Jets were going to be the team to watch this year. Um, but, and then that just went out the window so quick.
Yeah, quick story. I was born in '71, so Namath was '69, right? That was when the
Hmm.
Jets had their one Super Bowl victory. So my dad made me a Jeff fan, and I've been in misery ever since.
I mean, you guys had a couple of, you guys had, what was that year? When you had Vinny
Vinny
Testaverde,
Testaverde, yeah,
yeah, as your quarterback, and you guys made it to the AFC Championship game against, I want to say it was the Broncos.
yeah, I think so, or the Raiders, somebody, maybe the Broncos. I think that was early 2000.
Yeah, I think that was the last time because you guys had Keyshawn. By the way, I'm a big sports fan. Yeah, guys, you guys had Curtis Allen, I believe, and Keyshawn Johnson.
Curtis Martin.
Hmm?
Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin, yes. Curtis Martin, yes.
He was good.
Yeah.
But it
But
don't
yeah,
matter. It doesn't matter. The team is cursed.
it's been tough since. It's been tough since.
You have no idea. I can't. Every year I find I watch a new way for a team to lose.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm like, I feel for you guys. I did. I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be at least a playoff season for them. And like,
Oh man.
Aaron Rodgers went down and that went out the window just like
But
that.
the rest of the offense is so bad. It's historically bad. I mean, they're setting records for
You guys have a great defense too. That's the sad part about it. Great
Yeah,
defense.
the defense was pretty good, but
Yeah.
you can't rely on. They don't win games. They can't score points. Well,
No,
some
they
of them
can't.
do.
Yeah.
Baltimore does.
Yeah, Baltimore definitely does.
Yeah.
All right, so you have an Indiegogo set up for now for iNinja. What are some perks that are some awesome perks you guys have?
Well, when they see, this was the thing. I when I first did a crowdfunding, it was actually a fiscal sponsorship. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
It's kind of like an Indiegogo thing, except a not-for-profit charitable organization takes you under their wing, and all your donations that come through are actually tax write-off for the
Really?
people that are doing it, right?
Okay.
So that was the first thing that I did, and that worked out. That covered everything that I needed to make the concept film. Um, this time around, and there were, I think I made shirts for that or something. It didn't matter. Nobody. It didn't really work out the way the way I thought it would work out. I mean, even the people that gave some money that were generous, they're like, we're not even going to write it off because it doesn't make sense. You know, certain people take general tax deductions, and some of this stuff, unless it's massive amounts of money, it doesn't. It wasn't really. It really didn't make people excited about it. But anyway, so we moved on to this, and then I said, what perks can I do? And I said, I don't. I just decided to give IMDb credits with
Okay.
this, and kind of use this to see if there was people that, okay, do you want to invest in this film? If you really want to invest, and the word invest and donate are two different things, and when it comes to the government, you got to be careful with word you use when you
Yes.
promise people stuff. So that's a whole nother thing that took a year out of my life researching. but But I didn't really decide. Like I'm not gonna sit here and make these stupid perks and try and give them out. So I just went with the credits, and it really hasn't caught on much. I mean, I think the campaign's a month old, and it's there's not much there. I'm trying to get it going a little bit, but maybe the timing was off with the holidays and that
Always
kind of
something.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever I get, whatever little bit, obviously is going to go to the film, and maybe now I had some interest from some companies. I mean, some of them, you got to really be careful with, and industry is not a good industry.
It's a lot of sharks.
Yeah. So, which is fine. I make sure I protect myself and anybody else. But I had some interest, but they just want you to sign everything over to them, and I don't know what their plans are. The legal end of it is complicated. So I'm better off sticking on my own, and using what I want to put into this. And as a filmmaker, for me, I mean, I'm doing, I got the equipment already, so I've gathered that mostly. The equipment these days is so good now that you can, you can put stuff out there that looks as good. I'm not going to get into that cell phone, make your movie on your cell phone debate, because I think I wouldn't do that. But I mean, the cameras that you're using and the audio, that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can use the consumer or the prosumer level stuff, and you can make a good movie if you know what you're doing. But there's so many things to watch on the set, and since I'm running, skeleton crew being me and the stuff that I like to do, and trying to get everybody together to do this, it's going to be really hard, and it's a welcome challenge, but it's hard to do. I mean, I've seen it for a 1-day shoot, which went into 13 hours for that day, and we had to get out by a certain time, and we're running over, and you're just exhausted at the end of the day.
I can imagine. Yeah. Man, I've interviewed several indie filmmakers, and everything is sped up. Everything is sped up because there's such a small budget, and certain casts have to be certain places at certain times, and it's just a difficult.
Yeah, task. And I've helped. I'll just help people on their films. I've done some other people's films that were micro to no budget, and I've seen what they've gone through to do that stuff, and it really is a gluttony for punishment to try.
I can imagine. I couldn't do it. I give props to you guys. I really do, because I couldn't do it. Now, I do have a question. So with the fact that there's a lot of indie filmmakers, especially in the horror genre, pretty much anyone, like you said, with a smartphone can now make a movie. I've heard horror stories. I hear that there's a lot of sharks out there. I hear that a lot of indie filmmakers who are actually putting good projects out there are literally getting their projects taken over by distribution companies, or I don't even want to call them loan sharks. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Personally, no. I can just tell you what I pay attention to every day. Mostly, I say I went to the University of YouTube for filmmaking. Mm-hmm. So I just watch on YouTube about these people and what they're doing. And then the problem right now at this particular moment is this industry is in flux with the streaming and everything. And that there was a strike. But the movie that you're making, to have it on the way we grew up, on four-walled with a screen and go out and have your popcorn, making a movie for that is here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And unless I actually make some sort of a deal with Regal or somebody like that, the cinemas, mm-hmm. to see my movie on the screen being promoted so people will buy tickets and go, that's a long shot. So now we're dealing with the distributors that are going to do the platforms and set that up. So this is going to be new for me. If you know, if A, I make this movie from beginning to end, B, I'm able to put together something that people are interested in as far as streaming and stuff. You know, when you don't have A or B list actors, that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So what do I have? I have a story. You know, I'm telling a story here. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to, you know, ruin my life over it, you know, and go into debt over it. So I got to kind of find a sweet spot and hope that it can be something that is welcomed into some sector of streaming and this new um, this new world that filmmakers are living in now.
So right now, so you're in an early process of, you know, getting this film made. There's some young filmmaker right now who's thinking about getting, or I say there's a young individual out there who's thinking about getting into the indie filmmaking genre arena. What is some advice you can give them?
I think you're gonna. I like to reference the 10,000 hour rule. Did you hear about that? Where
Yes.
if you want to be really good at what you're doing, you better until you get 10,000 hours of doing something, you're not at the level where you're going to be quote unquote successful. So I mean, start there. Start realizing that just because you know you have 400 or 500 hours doing something, you know, most likely you're going to need to keep cutting your teeth on stuff. I mean, I kind of look at it that I did those short films, you know. I mean, you know, I didn't get anywhere. I mean, I think we got like to semifinals or something over the years with a few short films. The film festival market is kind of I would say also suspect. I don't know. I mean, I started with screenplays, so sending them out to the festivals, and you know that was tough enough. But to find out what first of all, did you ever look at how many there are?
So yes, I actually did a piece that I actually did not release because I didn't want to piss some people off in the, you know, my people I interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
But 67% of those film festivals are either a scam or it's their first year, which means meaning their first year they're not a reliable, legitimate film festival.
Yeah, exactly. I think Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds made a movie within the past 8 years or something before he died.
You did?
Where he, yeah, I forgot the name of it, but some terrible names. But it was about him basically playing himself, but not himself, and you know going to the film because he wanted to be presented on the film festival as you know a creator, you know, an actor. So they fly him in, and like you said, it's like they're putting him in a shit hotel and all the stuff he's not used to. And then you know it's in the back of a bar. They're showing the movies in the back of a bar somewhere.
Uh-huh.
But it was actually pretty well made, and I think it was such a micro budget um, that it just kind of. I said I have to see this because you know I was at the time putting a lot of money into putting my stuff into the festivals and then I don't know, I don't really care to do it anymore. I don't think it's for me anymore.
It's a great business idea, by the way. I'm not saying that I might not do this, hint, hint, myself eventually, but it's a pretty good business idea if you do it correctly, which
Mm-hmm.
most of them are not doing correctly. Most of them, they're not even watching the films and it's in their mom's basement, you know? There's no actual venue, everything's virtual.
Mm-hmm.
I can have a film festival right now doing what I'm doing on Skype. So that's what majority of these guys are doing, you know? they're in their basement or office doing, and the winner for this best movie is blah blah blah, and they're charging people two to $500 a person to. I mean, that's a good racket.
I mean, it doesn't stop there. I mean, I was to one recently that I was a part of, but not. I didn't really, put the money out to be in it. It wasn't my material. It was just, helping out. And you go in, and it was a legitimate festival. I'm not saying it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't like the tiny ones like you're talking about. But it was the first year. But they did have backing. So that was over here in Knoxville. And you walk in, and they had to deal with Regal, and they had a table set up with merchandise for their film festival. And I don't know how they did, but the theater was packed.
But that's how you do it. It's like, if you're going to do it right, a film festival, if I was going to do one, I would actually get a theater, an actual venue, and actually do it. I mean, because people are paying good money just to be nominated for. I mean, they're spending hundreds of dollars to be nominated. So, like, you're making excellent profit on it. Why not put some of that money and make your film festival legit, seem legit, by having actual theater and actual trophies or something? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've seen them where they're handing out, it looks like a certificate that you would get for like perfect attendance in elementary school, and somebody done paid hundreds of dollars for.
They call it laurels. The laurels,
No, but I'm
the
talking
leaves.
about the laurel. Yeah, I'm talking about the laurel, but they hand you, instead of an actual trophy, they hand you a fucking certificate that they print out on a printer, like an inkjet printer, and it looks like a something that your child would get for perfect attendance.
Right.
And you don't spend hundreds of dollars for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's an excellent racket. That's all I got to say. I mean, it's a.
I mean, I've seen, I've met a lot of people that are award-winning filmmakers.
And you watch your films, and you're like, whoa.
I'm not even, I don't know. I'm not going to shit on anything, because I know what it takes to make even a shitty film. Yeah. But I mean, I guess when it comes to titles, people are into that, the title and all.
Because before I got into doing interviews and indie filmmaking, listen, I'm a huge movie fan. It would get my attention when I would see all of the it would be like, let's say the Rain Dance. Let's say in the movie Rain Dance, I would see all these film festival awards, and I'll be like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest movie ever. This movie has won 100 film festival awards. How can this not be the greatest movie ever? And I watch it, I'm like, this. That was okay, but like, why did it win that many awards? And once you start researching a lot of those film festivals,
I think a lot of it is I don't know. I don't have any proof, so I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah. But I think I kind of have a feeling that there are people that are just going to win. And number one, I think it's not because of who they are. I think they just have done their research. They know that this film festival, they know the people that are running it. They know what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. I mean, the artsy end of it, I mean, the past 20, 15, 20 years, I mean, when you start looking at the awards and what films are winning and all that stuff, I mean, it's kind of confusing to kind of put it. But if you enter your let's say your sci-fi film into a film festival that's looking for movies that are totally opposite of that, you're not going to win.
Correct.
Now they do have categories and stuff, for different types of films, and that's when it really, you can put your film in this category. You look on Film Freeway, and I'm submitting here. I'm submitting. What if I want to submit it to the other category? I mean, you're just not going to win, So I don't know. I mean, I think it's good. I like the networking part of the film festivals.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love the networking. Plus, it also does drive audience to see movies, which is, by having those film festival, it does drive audience. Myself, at one point, I saw, wow, this movie won 200 Best Picture awards. This has to be a great movie. And that's to say it was a bad movie, but I'm like, wow, okay, that was okay. But
Yeah.
I watched the movie at the end of the day, you know? So it definitely
Um,
does help promote the
horror,
movie.
it's hard to go wrong with horror. I mean, if you now you're looking at a movie that's gonna, for me and you here in the United States, I mean, we're not even scratching the surface of distribution. I mean, YouTube is the number one distributor of, or viewed the number one volume of viewers for movies
Correct.
across all the movie sectors. So now you're talking about an industry that I don't know much about except what I've been learning and what kind of makes sense. You talk about a horror movie that could transition to every sector, and that's why horror movies do well. So that's definitely a place to start. And there's some people make some good scary stuff, but I think they ignore the fact that the film is made. The film exists from the character, at least one of the characters, maybe several, that have to have an objective and go from here to there and overcome something. It's nice if the character, if you walk out of the movie thinking, yeah, that character, is just like me, and I identify with that and what they struggled to and the resolution that they came. If that's all there and it's all complete, then you have what people want. They want to know about that. If you don't have that, then what do you have? You just have a bunch of scenes or short films put together,
Mm-hmm.
right? I look at it that way. That's why I started doing short films because I kind of, when I was writing scripts, I was kind of determining that each scene is kind of a little short film in itself. You
It
know,
is.
you start the scene, you got, all right, who's in this scene? Well, maybe two or three of my characters. What do they want out of the scene? Um, the old cliche, all your characters should think that they're the main character in your
Yeah.
film. Stuff like that, and that's what takes time in the script to flesh out.
It is.
You know,
I mean, I think character development, and I get criticized for it, but I think character development is more important in horror than any other genre of movie because
Mhm.
you have to care about the characters and their demise. You do.
Mhm.
You have to. Like, you have to feel
Yeah.
something for the character who is getting chased, murdered,
Mhm.
whatever. You have to feel something. If you go into a horror movie this and characters are getting murdered and you don't feel any kind of way, whether it be happy,
Mhm.
sad, bad, nothing, then like what are you watching at that point?
You're just watching a bunch of people getting killed.
Murdered. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're just watching gore and
Yeah.
and
Or uh, just a psychopath that's just killing people for
yeah.
no reason. I mean, you got to admit, bad guys are interesting.
They
The
are
the
villains.
antagonist is, I mean, everybody wants to play a good villain. It could make somebody's career if they
Hmm.
play a good villain. Um, at the same time, they don't want to be actors are strange. They don't want
Yeah.
to be typecast as something. They want to do different stuff and all. And I can't act for the life of me. But they want them to feel like that role is important to them, right?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. So so you got to really think about the roles in your film and what they're gonna mean to people,
I agree.
um, and that can make or break their whole entire career.
You can. And a great villain too. A great villain, you hate them, but at the same time, you can kind of connect with them as well.
Because they don't believe they're the villain. They
Exactly.
they believe that whatever they're doing is righteous for them. You know,
Exactly. I mean, even
and I
even
mean, what was one of the best moments in cinema was Darth Vader, right?
yes. I mean, you look at the Joker. I mean, you look at even Jason and Freddy. They don't think that they're the villain. They think what they're doing is the right
Mhm.
thing. So you can kind of connect with them a little bit. But like,
Mhm.
I mean, even Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you can kind of connect with him. Okay, these people are trespassing on his house, and he's trying to protect them.
Right.
And something that every single human being can relate to. If somebody is trespassing in your property, you want to defend your property.
Absolutely. Yep, that's true. And he got his just desserts.
Yes, he did.
But we've come. I could tell already that you probably like the same films that I do, and they've come a long way, and we're not really getting those films anymore,
No.
are we? So I don't know. Maybe I can make something, but I mean, horror. What some of these found footage movies are like. They make an outrageous return on investment. I
And,
mean,
and a lot of them are great.
a lot of them are great, but and then you got filmmakers out there, and they're saying, oh, that found footage cost for whatever $7,000 or $20,000 to make, which is on a Hollywood budget. That's the food for a day or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's craft services, but then you realize that you do a little digging, and the studio that bought that film, had to spend, 100 times that to clean up the film and redo the audio on it and that kind of stuff. So now you're starting to realize that even though this is a low budget wonder film, it still had to be, they still had to invest money. And then like if your budget is, let's say you have a $1 million budget, just to make it easy, and you spend 500,000 making your film, which is a lot of money. I mean, the other 500 is going to go towards promotion, right?
It is.
And we, independent filmmakers don't have that.
No. And that's why I created this channel to try to give indie filmmakers a spotlight.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it does. There's a few. There's a few other guys that I've run into that kind of do something like what you do, and their obsession is either horror or sci-fi, usually those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lull in sci-fi movies back in the 90s where I don't remember anything that was that good for a while.
Yeah.
At least nothing that I remember that I wanted to see. But anything you do to promote, is great. And you're on the YouTube platform, so I don't know how you get a following. I can't seem to do it.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work.
Keep doing what you're doing, and that'll be good because I watched a little bit. I didn't have a lot of time to watch some of your stuff, and that's the format that you want to keep doing and stuff. I think how long can you listen to two people talk like this? But if when you get a little going, then you can start putting more graphics in with your presentation. I guess nice.
Exactly, and it's all just about each year adding, building, and it's the long game. It's the long game.
You've been doing this, 2 years?
No, I haven't even been doing this for a year, to believe it or not. Yeah,
okay.
I haven't even been doing it for a year. And so, originally my story was a little bit more about it. My channel was, just a little bit of everything from horror conventions to movie reviews. And then story is that, an indie filmmaker, I bashed her movie, and then she commented on the video. I was like, wow, I didn't even know anyone was watching this. And she asked to come on for interview. And the interview went so smoothly. I started adding the interview aspect, and I was like, wow, no one else is doing that. That can be my niche. No one's really doing that. So I started incorporating that in with
follow-ups.
Still do the horror conventions. I do haunted house walkthroughs. I tried to incorporate a mixture of everything. I wanted to be like a one-stop shop for horror fans.
Yeah, no, definitely. That would work out. I think you try and bring some more sci-fi into your channel as well.
Yes,
not just horror.
I would love to. The sci-fi
Um,
and horror, I mean, I feel like they go hand in hand.
yeah, once Alien came out,
Yeah, and Predator and all that stuff.
it, those movies melded it together.
They really did.
Yeah,
They really
the
did.
old, I mean, because the old '60s and '50s movies, the sci-fi movies were, horrible in their own right, but
Mhm.
nobody looked at them as horror sci-fi because it really didn't exist
Yeah,
until Alien and those groundbreaking films. And you look at like Alien and you just watch it today, and it's just there's nothing being made like that.
yeah. I mean, even John Carpenter's The Thing is
Awesome.
considered sci-fi,
Hmm.
but it blurs the line of horror as well. I mean, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. It starts out with a spaceship.
Hmm.
I mean, that's one of my favorites. That and of course Alien and Aliens and then being a Star Trek fan, all that old Star Trek and Star Wars, all the old Star Wars. I don't care for much of the new stuff anymore. It's lost the
Yeah, I like the old.
storytelling.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got lost in itself in my eyes.
it
And
does. Yeah, I can't because I tried watching the Picard series and I can't get into it. I
I
can't.
can't I can't really either.
Yeah, I checked out. But it's almost like Marvel. I've kind of checked out on Marvel altogether as well over the last couple of years. It's just,
Yeah, I think a lot of people think the same way.
yeah, I don't know if it's because they're constantly throwing different projects at you constantly and don't give it a break.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's what it is. Because it's with the Star Trek and the Marvel, it was just like constant.
it's
And
too much.
even Star Wars has done has been doing that. It's just
Mhm.
constant Star Wars
Yeah.
content. And like, the great thing about those groups were that, you got them every once in a while. It was something to look
Mhm.
forward to. It wasn't like every 2 months something was coming up.
Well, and that goes back to, thinking about what it takes to make, let's take a 2 hour film, right? I
Hmm.
mean, to make that, to flesh together that story. You talk about, you talk about like The Mandalorian, you're talking about 8 hours, a good solid 8 hours of film. How are you going
Hmm.
to produce that every season, and
Yeah.
just and maintain that quality?
You
That's
can't.
mind-boggling. I don't
You
care how
can't.
much money you have.
Hmm.
You can't you can't get lightning in the bottle that many times in a row.
The human brain, which is one of the most powerful computers there is, to constantly put out top-notch creative ideas like
Hmm.
that, it just doesn't happen.
And then you got to get everybody together on it.
Yep.
The studio, I mean, studio, we can do a whole nother uh, hour on talking about the studio meddling in films and
Yes.
how, because now it's more documented than it used to be.
It is. Yeah, I see a lot of documentaries, especially even on the horror movies, and just in the last 10 years, um, how they meddled with a lot of movies, and the director had one idea, which was an excellent idea, and the studio wanted them to go to a completely different route.
Hmm. And I mean, and I guess you can look at it from their point of view as well. I mean, what's they have to make money with it. It's a
Yeah,
business.
it
So I
is.
think I think the artsy filmmakers and the guys that are really special and they're really able to put together some really wonderful arty stuff that the film festivals are looking for.
Hmm.
That's just not something that's gonna that a studio is gonna say, okay, we're gonna put Tom Cruise in there, or
Yep.
we're gonna spend the money to put this guy in there.
Yep.
Well, where are we gonna recuperate that, and where are we gonna make our profit? And then some of that artsy stuff just doesn't. I don't. It's not Marvel, right?
Hmm.
Marvel is a whole different eggshell, a whole different ball game. I don't know. I don't know how to make money in the film industry. Um, I could just hope that I put out the best thing that I can put out.
Yeah, and I'm
I
sure you
mean,
will. I mean, to be honest, you got an interesting concept. You got fucking ninjas, you got violence, you got sex traffickers. I mean, what else?
Yeah, I
Like
want it to be brutal.
it's just putting it all together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's home run. Home run.
I hope so. It would be great if it comes. Well, I mean, look, we talked about The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. That movie was destroyed when it came out. It didn't make a lot of money.
It
The
didn't.
critics hated it. It came out the same year as E.T.
Yep.
And
now it's one. And that is one of the most iconic horror movies there is. I mean, when I interview people and ask them, "What's your favorite horror movie?" The Thing is always in the top five.
Yeah,
it's always in the top five.
Yep, definitely.
And I don't care what age the individual is or what, The Thing is in everybody's top five.
Yep. And then they tried to do it again, which actually I didn't mind, except they didn't use the practical effects. They went digital, and they screwed it up.
Oh, by the way, are you going to use practical effects or CGI?
The only CGI I might use is a couple of location changes in the background, if I have to. It's so hard to do, right? And I have the ninjas able to turn into like a gaseous form for a few seconds and kind of like get away.
Okay.
So I got to figure out how to do that scene. But I mean, like I have the opening scene is just a bunch of mercenaries protecting the mark that the ninjas going after, and I wrote it action shooting up the wall, trying to shoot the ninja who you don't know where it is, where she is. They're shooting up the wall, holes in the wall, and I'm like, okay, well, let's also write this where I don't have to try and recreate this, because that's expensive. So I said, so I also have a scene where I'm just going to put some CGI of a wisp, a black like smoke, which is the ninja going through all their weapons and just disabling all their weapons, and they can't fire them, and then they just get cut down one by one. That's the cheap way of doing it.
Yeah.
But then you have to make the VFX look good though, otherwise it's not going to work.
No.
Especially with today's audience.
Yes. So, Tony, where can everyone find you, my friend?
I'm hanging out on Facebook, Tony Dionisio, or you can reach me at my email, which is foxtrotfenris, FENRAS, foxtrotfenris@gmail.com. Or you can get me on my IMDb page, Anthony M. Dionisio.
Awesome. And I'm going to have the link down in the description for his Indiegogo. Definitely support that.
Thank you, sir.
Anthony, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, my friend.
Yeah, great. Good luck with the channel, and hopefully we can talk again.
Yes, I would like to have you back on once you get into that post-production. Come back on, man. I want to chat about iNinja.
Definitely. I hope you like it.
I'm sure I will, man. Listen, I like that B80s action movie, so I'm pretty sure I'm your fan base. Yep.
You'll see something out of this. I'll make sure that there's something to watch. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.